Now we're going to talk about hashes, which are a special type of array. Sometimes they're called associative arrays. These are arrays that have keys and values rather than just scalar elements. And so we'll start by making a copy of the variables.pl, and we'll call it hashes.pl, like that. And open that up and start by declaring, move this out of the way a little bit. Start by declaring a hash variable. So hash is with the %, like that. And then it is very much like a list. And in fact, it is a list. It's a special case of a list. So I'm going to say this and that. And you'll notice the equals sign with the right angle bracket. And that declares that this is a key and that is a value. And then I can say comma. And actually, instead of that, let's just make that something else like foo. And that can be bar. And the other can be baz, like that. And a semicolon. And so we have now a hashed array, or an associative array, with 3 keys, and they are associated with 3 values. So this is foo, that is bar, and other is baz. We can look at any one of these elements using something like this, $hash, and say that, like that. And so this syntax here, again, we use the $sign because our result is a scalar. Hash is the name of our hash variable. And in curly braces, we have the key that we're looking for, which is that. So what we will get is the value bar, and that's what will display down here. So I'm going to go ahead and save and run. And there we have bar, because that is the value that is keyed on that. If I were to put other here and save and run, we get baz, which is the value that is associated with other. So there you have the basic way that you declare and read the value of a keyed element in a hash. Of course, there's some other things that we can learn about this. In fact, this is a special case of an array. And so these arrows, the equal sign with the right angle brackets, are simply shortcuts for commas. And the reason that they're there is to enforce the even numbered element rule, that in a hash you must have an even number of elements. But this syntax here will actually work exactly the same. Go ahead and run that, and you see we get the same value. It's much harder to read, and it's not anywhere near as easy to write. And so we'll go ahead and we'll use that great little hash key value shortcut with the equal sign and the right angle bracket. And so we can see that that's an important syntactic element. But like so many things in Perl, there's really more than one way to do it. And occasionally you will see lists and arrays cast into hashes. And it's important for you to know that they are technically the same data structure. They're just used in different ways. So I'll go ahead here and I'll save this, and we'll go ahead and run and make sure that we're back where we meant to be. There's some other things you can do with hashes. You can get a list of all of the keys. A list of the keys would be with the keys function. So you can say keys and %hash, and that'll return a list of the keys. Now, because it's a list, I can't just display it like this. I have to use something like join with a colon. And we'll go ahead and put in a comma there and make sure we have the right number of closed parentheses. And I'll save that and run. And so there is a list of the keys. And you'll notice that they're out of order. Other, that, this. They're actually in reverse order. But that's not a guaranteed order at all. If you want a guaranteed order, you need to sort it. And so you can say sort. And again, let me move that parenthesis out here, so we have the right number of them. And so this will put them in alphabetical order. Save and run. other and that and this, and so that is the alphabetical order. And in fact, you can get the values as well. You can say values instead of keys, and you'll get foo, bar, and baz. And those will be in the order bar, baz, and foo probably because they're alphabetical. Go ahead and run that. Bar, baz, and foo. So those are the important elements of how hashes work. It's very common to read a hash in some sort of a loop, and I'm just going to give you an example of that. I'm going to use a for each loop, and we'll talk more about these loops later. Give you an example of how this works. So this is a very common construct that you will see. Something like this, for each my $K for the keys, and get a list of the keys, and they will come out sorted. And then I can say something like $V equals a hash $K like that. For each one of these, that'll give me the value. And then I can print something like this. I can say $K is $V, and we'll get a list that'll say for each of these in sorted order of the keys and its associated values. So we'll save and run. And there we have other is baz, that is bar, and this is foo. So this is commonly how you'll see hashes used in some sort of a loop like this that pulls out the keys and gets the values based on the keys. So that is how associative arrays or hashes work in Perl. That's how you declare them using the list of key value pairs with the commas and these lovely equal and angle bracket syntax.